And Brother Kyle, the professor of music. Yeah, his children need to learn how to play music. He's the man to teach them. Yes, sir. And Mr. Mark Clemens. I've got a name for Mr. Mark Clemens, but he is the man around town, if you want to know something. So anyway, we're going to give leeway to Miss Alice Kim.
Okay, so I've had the honor of knowing Darby for 15 years. And over the years, I've learned so much from him. And I think maybe the most important thing that I've learned from Darby is the meaning of perseverance. Darby was the first exonerated death row prisoner from Illinois. So he was out long before the death penalty was making national headlines or international headlines. He was out when actually nobody was paying attention. But ever since I've known him, he has been fighting against injustice in the streets of Chicago, in Washington, D.C., in California. He goes wherever he's called to go. Darby is there. He was there at the first demonstration that was called by the Death Row 10 from behind bars. It was when Ronnie and Stanley and all the rest of them were still behind bars. He was at that demonstration. He was there at the State of Illinois building when we chained ourselves to the building and tried to get arrested in the name of the struggle, but the guards wouldn't arrest us because they said, well, you know what, we're actually on your side. So they wouldn't arrest us, but Darby has always been there. And he's always there for others whenever people might need him. You know, whenever people are sick or in the hospital or there's a death, Darby is there to do what he can. And then the kind of person he is, though, is that when he had to go to the hospital for hip surgery about a year ago, he went very quietly, telling almost no one. So even his closest friends found out, just after he was already in. So he went very quietly into the hospital because even though he wants to be there for everybody else, he doesn't want to be a burden on anybody else, and that's the kind of person that Darby is. And yet, within weeks of his hip surgery, he was back out there on the streets, causing trouble, rabble-rousing, exposing injustice. So Darby is probably one of the most resilient people that I know, and he's also one of the most talented. And you've already seen some of his musical performance tonight, but one of the things that Darby's done in recent years is to bring creativity to the movement, his own creativity. He's brought his songs, his Death Row Blues songs and his one-man show to the movement. And now, tonight, he is unveiling a musical forum where he wants to share his music and integrate that into an educational forum. So, really excited to have all of you guys here. We have a cozy group here, so, we'll have a lot of time to actually talk with Darby, and I believe Tomika is going to share some words with us afterwards, too. So we'll have a lot of opportunity to talk to one another and engage with one another. So I just want to hand it back over to Darby right now, and we'll get on with the show.
Thank you, Miss Kim. Watch them dogs. Forgive me, Mr. Mika. Death to Life psychoanalyst is in the house tonight. And also who came through the door is my judicial and political counselor, Brother Dickie Gaines, and my trusted confidant in the law, Brother Shaka. Whatever I want to know, I call both of them before I say something crazy. Tonight, are going to go down a rocky lane that only a few have traveled, and they are here tonight. What I'm trying to do is expose a painful illness that plagues so many men. It's destroying households, and it's destroying communities. And nobody wants to do anything about it. Nobody wants to talk about it. And I don't think that most people realize really what it is. But you will realize what it is tonight. And the one thing that I didn't want to do, I left some information. And that I did. But nevertheless, maybe it wasn't intended. To be. So we'll just have to bypass that. My name is Darby Tillis. I spent 9 years, 1 month, and 17 days on death row for a crime that I did not commit. That was just a drop in a bucket of time compared to others. I was tried 5 times, including 3 hung juries. The death penalty is cruel and unusual punishment. Death row is called a condemned unit, a place that's set apart from the general inmate population. Men sentenced to death live in the condemned unit until they are killed by what method of execution the state chooses. Death row is a place of horror. It looks like hell, smells like hell, and feels like hell. It is hell. For the next 10 to 12 minutes, I'm going to try to be explicit as possible, because I truly want you to understand. I want you to leave here tonight, think about it, and talk about it. This is what I've had to live for 23 years. I was told that the longer that you're out, the more you will be plagued with the sickness from death row. Well, they told the truth. The walls of my mind is lined with repressed memories and images of forgotten pain. Being on death row has lasting effects. My pain from death row didn't die with my release. It took on a new growth, making my mental state more aggravated. Every day, all day, the inner conflict of life and death rages on, leaving me restless and in pain. I fight hard not to be a victim of revenge. I strive to live and love